System and hypothalamus. The limbic system deals with emotions and with memory, and hypothalamus deals with memory as well. Okay, so any sort of error in limbic system, any sort of disability in limbic system and hypothalamus can lead to memory loss, or we'll know what happens. Cool. So limbic system, actually it means edge. Limbic means edge, border, and structure means it's like a rim of cortical tissue. Okay, so for example, this is your hypothalamus here. This bulb is a hypothalamus bulb, right? There is nothing called bulb, by the way. It's just hypothalamus right there. And limbic system has parts called amygdala. It has parts at this Papez circuit. So it's very simple. It's super simple. I'm gonna tell you what happens in this system. So limbic system. Limbic system, we need limbic system for smell brain. Why we call it smell brain? We call it smell brain because it lets us, smell, and smell, can be a very good memory. Memory, it can really makes you, remember a lot of things. Rim of cortical tissue. Cortical tissue right there. It's a rim. Okay, it's oldest part because smell, one of the oldest senses of your body. Emotions are also like managed by limbic system. Smell is managed by limbic system, and memory is managed by limbic system. Okay, so there is something called amygdala in your body. So amygdala comes from the word almond, and these tonsils, tonsils are also called, in I think in French maybe, or I don't know, but tonsils are also called amygdala in another language. So these are like tonsil like structure, and that's why they were named as amygdala. So amygdala is usually a window of the world. It means this is how you perceive the world. This is how the genesis of the emotion is done, and it is regulated by frontal cortex. So usually what happens that man usually before the age of 25 have poor frontal cortex development, and so what happened is genesis of the emotions is not well. So any lesion at amygdala can lead to either hyper emotions or hypo emotions. Let's see what happens. So lesion at bilateral means both. Temporal amygdala, it means the temporal side of amygdala. So bilateral temporal amygdala lesion at this place is called Kluver-Bucy syndrome, and it was first produced in a monkey. And what happens that lesion there can lead to visual agnosia. It means you can see but you cannot recognize. What happens that your visual stimulus is there but you cannot recognize it because this stimulus cannot be integrated at this place. Okay, so this integration of visual stimulus is done as temporal amygdala. Other thing can happen, there's hypermetamorphosis. It's a very cool word. What happens is that you wanna explore your environment. It's hyper, and it's like you're like a child. You wanna explore your environment, so it's called hypermetamorphosis. Plasticity means you're like a plaster. You have no emotions. Okay, you have no fears, no anger, and no emotional memory. So that's really scary. Other thing is hyperorality. You really want to put everything in your mouth, including good stuff and bad stuff. Other thing is hyperphagia. Hyperphagia is that you have a habit of eating. You'll be constantly hungry. Not hungry, you'll just want to eat. Okay. Hypersexuality is also one of the traits of Kluver-Bucy syndrome. Amygdala restrains your sexual drive. It stops you from, doing stupid sexual shit. So if you guys have any sort of lesion at bilateral temporal amygdala, you guys will have hypersexuality. Okay, what about other thing? Usually I want to make sure this, you guys know this, that lateral part of amygdala, temporal amygdala, usually leads to auditory and language function, right? So if you guys have some problem at this part, bilateral, then you guys will have problem with auditory and language processing. Okay, lesion at medial part. Okay, so this is medial, this is lateral. So if you guys have lateral problems, you'll be hypersexual. If you guys have some sort of medial problems, you guys will experience deja vu and jamais vu, which are amazing experiences mostly. Usually they both of them usually medial temporal lobe, in the medial temporal lobe, okay, this is temporal lobe, for example, and the medial part of it, okay. So medial temporal lobe called mesial temporal lobe epilepsy. It's an epilepsy, it's a seizure. Here the hippocampal plus entorhinal plus amygdala misfires, okay. Here what are present? Hippocampus is present, entorhinal part is present, and amygdala is present. So all of them, they misfire. So complex partial seizures are there. Uncinate fits are there. For example, smell and taste hallucination. This actually happened to a lot of people in COVID-19. So uncinate fits. Deja vu. What is deja vu? Unfamiliar environment seems very familiar. Cool. It feels like, okay, this thing has already happened to you, right? Jamais vu is that you know this environment. You have been sitting in this environment for a quite long time, but it seems really new to you. This is jamais vu, and you will feel intense fear. Okay, here you had placidity because you had lateral lesion, and here you have medial lesion, so you have intense fear. They are quite opposite in nature. Okay, so this is very important. So amygdala is the window of the world. The genesis of the emotion is done at amygdala. Let's talk about Papus circuit. It's a circuit for your memory. What happens is that, let's start this circuit at cingulate cortex, and at the cingulate cortex, this place is for integration, right? Integration of what? Integration of memory and feelings, integration of memory and emotions. Okay, it's an emotional cortex. I feel upset, for example. Okay, you feel upset, I feel upset. What happens that the fibers called cingulum, okay, these are white fibers, and they go and they touch and at entorhinal cortex. Now this entorhinal cortex adds the when and where, the context to the memory, right? The context to the memory, and this entorhinal cortex adds this to the hippocampus as well. So both entorhinal and hippocampus, both of them add the context to the memory. Okay, and all of them is done via cingulum white fibers. Okay, and they are present in cingulate gyrus, and they innervate this cingulate gyrus to entorhinal and hippocampus. After this hippocampus and entorhinal, the fibers called fornix. It's a cool name. Fornix is also a white matter. So what happens that the fornix goes to mammillary bodies, and always remember that M stands for mammillary, M stands for memory. So mammillary body, this is a relay point, and here are the memory consolidation happens. This is a part of hypothalamus as well. It is present on the floor of third ventricle. Okay, so it is present at hypothalamus, and then after memory body, the mammillothalamic tract, again the white fibers, they go and touch anterior nucleus of thalamus, and this is for learning. It's very important. It adds the motivation to learn, it adds the emotional motivation, it adds the emotional tone. So this is Papus circuit. So we have something called a cingulate cortex, cingulum, because from cingulate you will have cingulum, then you have hippocampus, then you have mammillary body, and then you have anterior nucleus thalamus. Okay, so this is Papus circuit. Okay, cool. So this was basically limbic system. So in limbic system you have Papus circuit. In limbic system you have Kluver-Bucy syndrome. In limbic system you have mesial temporal lobe. So it was really, really, really simple. So that was one topic called limbic system.